The New York Giants are probably the most disappointing team in the entire NFC East, which is an impressive feat on a disappointing division. So let's break down what they can do to try to have any success under Brian Daboll, who was actually a really good hire for them at head coach. What's up, guys? I'm Tyler Coker, and I'm your host for today's episode of Today with Tyler. I hope you enjoy. As per usual, we'll start with their free agents. The free agents include Nate Solder, the offensive tackle, Billy Price, the offensive guard, Devontae Booker, the running back, Evan Ingram, the tight end who left, Jabril Peppers, the strong safety, Will Hernandez, the offensive guard, and Lorenzo Carter, the edge rusher. So not necessarily ideal because their guys that are free agents are actually important, but in the end, they weren't good enough for anyone to be that important. Breaking down their offense, Daniel Jones hasn't quite sold himself as a franchise quarterback, and this is probably his last season as a starting quarterback unless he proves something under Brian Daboll. It's possible, but it's also not possible because in the end, he has already had 4 years and really just has not done well. That being said, I would like to maybe do a film breakdown of him, and he certainly hasn't been given no excuses to fail. He is surrounded by a pretty weak roster. His wide receiver core got much better this year, and while management really destroyed the group, they have a lot of talent. Kenny Golladay may be made of glass, but he's a pretty decent wide receiver when healthy, and Kadarius Toney was a reach for sure in the draft, but he has a lot of talent, and I'm really excited to see him used well versus the poor usage he got last year, because Brian Daboll knows talent when he sees it. The Giants held back those two at wide receiver, but they don't really have a great wide receiver behind him to where they could have three good options. An extra wide receiver depth piece would be very nice. Maybe if they could get a late round gem, that would be perfect for them. Adding to their receiver woes was Evan Ingram being their tight end one, which is kind of self-explanatory. They really need to find a workable tight end, and don't be surprised if they look for it in the draft. The running back core was also a struggle since Barkley had some mental issues that kept his play ineffective when he is healthy, which is rare in and of itself. They have no solid running back too, making their injury woes stand out even more. And their O-line plays a major part in the offense's inability to get anything doing. Aside from left tackle Andrew Thomas, the line was horrible yet again. Shane Lemieux was a serviceable left guard, but Nick Gates, the center, right guard Will Hernandez, and right tackle Nate Solder all were very poor this year. Without Thomas, they would be ranked even lower than their 30th rank already, which is terrifying to think of. If they want to do anything this year under Brian Daboll, they have to improve this offensive line, and luckily they have the draft capital to do so. Going on to their defense, the secondary was slightly above average, which works with such a rough team. Adoree Jackson had a great year, and safety Xavier McKinney had himself a good year as well. Unfortunately, Logan Ryan and James Bradbury both had pretty poor seasons to back up their counterparts, so I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up trying to prove in the secondary, potentially even taking up a strong safety since Jabril Peppers and Logan Ryan are both gone. Their box was horrendous in performance, however, so they will definitely take more attention than that secondary. Defensive ends Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams both had pretty good seasons, but they were unfortunately left to dry. Nose tackle Austin Johnson couldn't generate any interior pressure, and outside linebackers Lorenzo Carter and Azeez Ojulari found little inconsistent success. And Tay Crowder both struggled mightily as well with Blake Martinez, and the box has a lot to work to do to stop the powerful running games in this division, because all four teams in this division want to run a lot, and all four teams kind of have weak linebacker scenes. So if the Giants really want to have that edge, they have to get the edge by getting interior pressure and getting a linebacker core, because test the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks are shaky in this division. So why not test them and continue to push against the run? In the end, their great needs are offensive guard, offensive tackle, linebacker, offensive center, and edge rusher. So the ideal draft for me in my latest mock draft was at the 5th pick, they get Ikem Ekwonu, the North Carolina State offensive tackle. And at the 7th, they get Trayvon Walker, the edge, because Kyle Hampton was already gone. In the 2nd, I might like to see them take someone like Christian Harris, the Alabama linebacker. In the 3rd, I'd like them to take an edge rusher. And then in the 4th, in their 2nd, 3rd round pick, I'd like to see them take someone like Alec Lindstrom, the Boston College center. I'd like to see them begin to give no excuses to Daniel Jones. And while the first couple rounds are stacked with talent on defense, I want to see him also attack the offensive line, because this offensive line has been horrible for so long. I just want to see them finally improve it. Finally see what Daniel Jones can really do with a team around him. Thank you for listening to the entire NFC East.